Good evening. It is Wednesday, November 8th, 2017. My name is Jacob,
And I'm Danielle.
and we are the Proteus Podcast. Ideas in all shapes and sizes and
Hello,
forms.
Jake.
Hello, Danny.
Sizes and forms are very similar to each other.
They aren't, but yes.
I mean, why not? You use them interchangeably there.
I could be the size of a house or in the form of a grapefruit.
Or
They are not interchangeable at all.
or you could be the size of a grapefruit in the shape of a house.
No.
Why not?
In the
They're
form,
model houses.
sizes and forms, totally not the same.
But similar.
The same, but different.
The same, but different. Kind of like, I don't know, I'm just going to dive right into this. Jake, have you seen Thor Ragnarok?
I have seen Thor Ragnarok.
Have you found Valhalla?
Valhalla awaits thee.
Valhalla awaits thee. So,
Easy there, reindeer games.
I love this movie.
It was a good movie. I'm not sure I loved it, but I really enjoyed it.
Like I'm putting it up there in the realms of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which was awesome.
It's like Marvel's just getting better and better and better.
Yeah, for sure, man. Especially with okay, so I would say that the Thor movies have been the ones that lag behind
Up until now.
up until now. Like the first Thor movie was good. You know, it wasn't great.
I recently watched the Cinema Wins review of the Thor movie just to refresh myself, and it has its problems, but it's also great.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, everyone, still construction world, so I apologize for the racket.
Good lands. When
yeah.
are they going to finish that?
Who knows? They're replacing the entire side of the building.
That seems like a bit much.
The second, well, code, balconies, rotted wood.
Seems like a bit much. Might have been easier just to tear it down and start over.
Then I'd be homeless.
Hey, well, the point is, it seems like a bit much.
So anyway, second Thor movie, The Dark World, was terrible.
I don't think it was terrible. I liked it in a lot
Man.
of ways, but it doesn't stand out as much against anything else.
Compared to the other Marvel movies,
There was some really great stuff in that movie that I really liked. But like I said, it doesn't stand out compared to the other Marvel movies.
Well, what did you like about it?
There's the scene where they're fighting towards the end and getting thrown through all those portals and disruptions. And
Now
Thor
you're
gets thrown through a
battling in
portal,
portals.
and his hammer turns around and breaks the sound barrier and leaves Earth at incredible rate, trying to get to him. And then he gets thrown back through a portal, and it turns around and comes back. It's like, it's the hammer. I always sort of feel like the hammer is a semi-intelligent thing on its own. And so,
Right.
It's there. It's like, I gotta get to Thor. And it's like, he's right over there. He's right over there. Wow. Okay. It's going to take a bit. Got to go this way. It's like, fine. He called. It's going to be like a week, but I'll go.
And that was honestly like the portal battle was probably a highlight of Thor.
But
And
it was like, there's a lot of little
Thor: The
things
Dark World.
like that. Just little moments in that movie that I really liked.
But the Dark Elves were just
Mean. I don't know.
I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't stand out to me as much as some of the other Marvel's movies do.
Right.
But there was plenty of things I did enjoy in it. I wouldn't call it a bad movie,
Okay. It was an okay movie.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. But Thor Ragnarok, well done.
So much
Like,
fun.
Also, I hope that, and according to Kevin Feige, or things that he has said, what we saw in Thor Ragnarok and like the buddy, like Thor and Hulk doing like a buddy cop type of movie, which is kind of what it turned into.
Kind of.
Like I hope that happens more in the Phase 4 of the MCU.
Yeah, like two of the heroes just teaming up and doing stuff.
Right. Like we got the buddy comedy. Let's get a couple other buddy scenarios going on.
Yeah.
Like we got the buddy like mentor and student movie out of Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
It was a little rough, but I think that they're perfecting it. And
Yeah.
by the time we get to phase 4, it's going to be great. Like for instance, the next Ant-Man movie where it's going to be Ant-Man and Wasp
should be great.
Amazing. It should be fantastic.
It should be amazing based on everything we've seen so far.
Exactly.
Like Ant-Man was one of those weird like Dark Horse Marvel
Ant-Man
movies
was so
because
great.
it was like everyone's like, really, they're gonna do Ant-Man? That was pretty much the response that everyone gave when they announced they're gonna do Ant-Man. It's like, why would they do Ant-Man? And then they made Ant-Man. I was like, this is a great movie. Everyone that was derisive about the whole idea loved it.
Right. It was good. It was done well. Paul Rudd was Paul Rudd, and it worked out really well.
Yeah, like
You have to take the Ant-Man character with a bit of levity.
Yeah, because he is intrinsically ridiculous.
Yes.
And it worked.
That's right. And they kept it that way. They were like, because you can't really deal, and I think this is why they didn't go with Hank Pym Ant-Man as being the main one, because those storylines are too dark for translating Ant-Man to the
MCU, the current MCU. Yeah.
Right.
It would translate into the DC Comics universe great. But it's not theirs.
About as well as any other. But so who do you think had the runaway role in Thor Ragnarok? Speaking of things that you liked.
Things that I liked. God, it's tough to pick out because there was so much going on that was great in that.
It's true. But like the runaway role.
The runaway role?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, I thought Loki did really great.
Yeah, he did well. What's that actor's name?
Tom
Hiddleston. Yeah, he did really well. His character was predictable. But I think Loki's a little predictable.
Yeah, he's a little predictable. He's it's the trickster god who's weirdly predictable in his tricks these days.
I will say that one scene where they're in Valkyrie's room and Thor and like Loki's tied up and they're all talking about how Loki tried to kill all of them. And Thor gives that story of their childhood where Loki like pretended to be a snake because he knows that Thor loves snakes, and then he transformed and stabbed him.
Yeah.
And he treats it like, yeah, that was a funny time.
That's a funny time.
Like I loved those interplay between the characters.
Yeah.
A good bit. And it's also a good throwback to the comics. Because that happened in the comic books in a different fashion, but still.
Right. I really liked the interplay back and forth between Loki and Thor, though. How they're clearly like they did a really good job bringing out that like sibling dynamic where they're constantly giving each other crap.
Yeah.
I really got a kick out of how well they did that. Like let's do the I'm hurt the get help one. It's like, I don't want to do get help. It's embarrassing. Oh, it's fun. It's fun for you.
Can you think of a better idea? Nope.
Nope.
We're doing get help.
We're doing get help. Yeah, that was a great scene because it's ridiculous. And then they're always basically always messing with each other.
So for me, like the runaway role in it was Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master.
God, he was great, but at the same time, it was almost uncomfortable to watch. Like he was so weird.
That's what's so great.
I know. You're just like, So
evidently, Taika Waititi, the director, like he was like, all right, I want you to just start riffing about this stuff. And then he took the best cuts of Jeff Goldblum riffing on certain things, and those are the ones he used for the film.
Yeah, like one of the ones that made me laugh was when they're like the uprising's happening. She's like, the slaves are revolting. He's like, ooh, I don't like that. It's like, okay, the prisoners with jobs are revolting.
I don't like that word. What word? Revolting? No, the S word.
Yeah. Prisoners with jobs.
Yes, much better.
Yeah, to a certain extent, that assistant was really hilarious too, because she's like just defaulting to the worst and most horrific options every time, and he's, why are you giving me the melting staff? He hasn't done anything.
Right. Yeah, I knowing Waititi's previous works, like being aware of them, I was a little worried coming into Thor Ragnarok.
Actually
that
not
was gonna be a
familiar.
little bit... Oh man, there's the
By name,
the one
anyways.
his work that he's done is amazing, but it's a little esoteric.
Hmm.
And I think that comes out in the Grandmaster
Yeah.
play. But the actress who's playing Jade is one of the actresses that he's used in his other works. So it kind of that play off that they have with each other.
Yeah.
But one of them is evidently about 3 vampires in Australia that live together.
That does sound esoteric.
But they're like sitting around like I watched a couple clips. It looks hilarious. But anyway, I just thought Jeff Goldblum's character was just hilarious.
Did you watch all the way to the end of the trailers for the stingers and everything?
Yes, I did.
I love that at the very end. So this has been great, and it's a tie.
If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have this revolution.
Yeah.
So it's a tie.
Yeah. Just it's like I can spin this into my favor somehow.
And it's like they can't kill him. The Grandmaster and the Collector are insanely powerful creatures.
Yeah, that's the impression
characters. And the rumor mill or the insiders are like the Collector and the Grandmaster are gonna have a scene in one of the Infinity War Gauntlets movies, 1 or 2, where they meet and have a conversation.
Great. That should be hysterical.
Well, they're technically brothers.
So even makes it even funnier.
Yeah. So that will be hilarity.
As long as we don't have to look at Howard the Duck again.
Oh man, I love Howard the Duck.
What's wrong with you? Why do you love Howard the Duck?
No.
Anyways.
But I also love how they worked the Hulk into this.
Yeah.
Like Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner.
I was kind of wondering how they were going to explain how he ended up there, and they did a good job of just barely tweaking the end of. I guess that was the end of Age of Ultron.
Yeah, Age of Ultron.
You know, it's like they changed one line, and it explains everything.
Well, at the end, he's like flying off.
Yeah, and she just says you're going real fast in Age of Ultron, and in the clip they show us like you're going real fast and real high and we can't track you. Well, she said you're going real fast and we can't track you in stealth mode. They added like one word to that line, and it explains that he flew into space with that thing because in the show, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been shown the Quinjets can fly into space.
Yep.
And so it all tied together and worked. He's like, he just went away and fell into a portal, and now he's here.
Yeah. And I also have to say that they did a really good job with fixing a couple other problems before we get back to the Hulk, but fixing some other like nerd ragey problems, like 2 Infinity Gauntlets.
Oh, yeah. So clearly fake.
Clearly fake. She knocks it over.
Yeah.
But no, the Hulk piece, and like Bruce Banner, when he's like there as Bruce Banner, and he's like, I've spent the past 3 years as the Hulk. Oh God.
Yeah.
And he starts having like this like meltdown.
Yeah, then he's like, Tony wears his pants too tight. Just complaining about the littlest, weirdest things because he's just totally out of it.
Yeah, but it's a good way. They brought him back. And so yeah. I love the way that the Hulk and Thor like played off each other.
Yeah.
Like, for whatever reason, Thor is in the Hulk's bedroom.
Yeah, like they put him there. So why?
Because the Hulk wanted him there.
And
he spends his free time just like bouncing a ball off the wall.
And exercising and training and just being the Hulk.
Yeah. Good time. I enjoyed it.
It was a really fun movie.
And then the part where like Bruce Banner jumps out of the or out of the ship, he's like, "You want to know why I'm familiar?" And he just like smashes
Just splats on the bridge. You just
into the
oh,
It's just
yeah, that was really something there. I actually really liked again Idris Elba's performances. That character keeps getting better and better.
oh yeah. I also still think that he has the last Infinity Stone.
You
that
think
he
so?
is. Yeah, I think he's the last one. I think he's the mind. Yeah.
No, the last missing stone is currently the Soul Stone.
Yeah, I think he has the Soul Stone.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but sure.
No, okay. So that one. Spoilers. By the way, we're really late in the spoilers.
It's way too late. Just go watch the movie. We're sorry. We're not sorry. You should be watching it.
The first in credit scene, Thanos' ship shows up, and I think that's the start of Thanos getting together the Infinity Stones. And I think he's going to extract it out of Heimdall and then throw Thor into space.
I kind of got the impression that Loki currently has the Tesseract again.
Yes, and he's going to escape with that and the other Infinity Stone because both the Tesseract and an Infinity Stone.
The other Infinity Stone is with the Collector.
Is it?
Yeah, there was only one Infinity Stone on Asgard, and it was the Tesseract. The other Infinity Stone.
The Tesseract isn't an Infinity Stone, is it?
Yeah, the Tesseract is got an Infinity Stone inside.
Right. Well, Loki escapes with that one, but yeah. I think that Thanos is going to see that Heimdall is the other one.
See, my personal theory, because they were not clear at all on where the sixth stone is. Because all the others are accounted for. We've been over this. Me and a friend have been over this at work 25 times. But my personal theory for the Soul Stone is it's the melting staff.
No,
it kind of makes sense because it's the right color.
No,
for the missing stone,
so
and also
eyes.
Yeah, maybe. And also, it kind of makes sense for something that important to end up at the universe's trash heap. Like something important always gets thrown away eventually.
I don't think so. I think that Heimdall is or has the Soul Stone, and that's why he's able to hear anyone who calls out to him or find anyone in the multiverse. I think that's it. And it's been a long time.
Doesn't jive with my understanding of the Soul Stone, but I mean, we're all just running pet theories at this point.
Exactly. And I honestly don't think that I just don't see them not having it somewhere. And I think that it has been somewhere, and I think it's been right in front of us.
See, I think the only argument I have against yours, really, is that when the Asgardians gave the other Soul Stone, which was the red one, to the Collector to keep it, they said they didn't want to keep two Infinity Stones in Asgard.
Yeah, but the way that Odin works...
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Like, the Warriors 3 knew. By the way, that was my biggest letdown of the movie.
Oh?
The Warriors 3 being unceremoniously just executed.
Yeah.
Like the one, unnamed general of the Asgardian army put up a better fight than the Warrior 3, who are supposed to be the best warriors aside from Thor.
Yeah. That was a little weird.
Now all that being said, what did we think about Cate Blanchett as Hela?
She did a really good job with a really weird role.
I mean, for being the first female antagonist in the MCU.
Really?
Yeah. Think about it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Unless you count Scarlet Witch as an antagonist for a brief period.
She's not. No, she was being manipulated.
Still spent time as an antagonist. But wasn't headlining or anything as the antagonist, so.
Right. amazing, and I actually loved every scene with her.
Yeah, like I thought they did she did an excellent job and was menacing and creepy and mean, and but it wasn't like to a point to make it uncomfortable and weird.
Yep.
Like this is something I like. There are times for you try to make the audience feel weird and weirded out and uncomfortable, and then there are plenty of times where you should really avoid that. And I think they nailed it with that.
Yeah, she did a really good job. I also like the changes they made in between the trailers and the movie, bringing Odin, instead of being a homeless guy in New York City, having him being in like self exile in Norway.
Yeah, that made much more sense.
And instead of having like the confrontation between Thor and Hela where his hammer breaks, instead of having that in the middle of an alley in New York City, having that in Norway.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it's just
I like that.
cleaner.
It was cleaner, and I also like that it gave a more touching, like it allowed for a more touching scene between Odin and Thor and Loki.
Yeah, especially because Norway tying into the Norse mythology of the whole thing, it just made more sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm sure somebody somewhere was like, "Wait, why aren't we having him be in Norway with the Vikings and the Nordic cult things?"
And it also kind of was a nice foreshadowing of remember this place, because like the Asgardians are basically relocating to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So it fits that they relocate to Norway instead of in the comics where Asgard gets destroyed by Surtur and they relocate to like Braxton, Indiana.
Weird.
I know. So it's like, yeah, Norway makes more sense. Yeah, so I do love that. Kind of tying in with the rest of the MCU. If Thanos doesn't kill all the Asgardians in the first 5 minutes of the Infinity War movie, and they continue on their exodus to Earth minus Thor and Loki.
Right.
Can you imagine like a Doctor Strange, right? Like keeping like seeing like the world and like monitoring it, and then all of a sudden an entire world of Asgardians like set up Asgard in Norway, and he's like, "The hell, man!
Yeah.
You guys said you weren't coming back.
You said you were. You said you were leaving.
You said you were leaving, and you bring your entire race here that are all super powerful and strong."
I really like the part that reminds me though when the Hulk is revealed and Loki says, "I need to get off this planet."
Yeah. There was a lot of great humor.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun there.
So I give it a solid 8.5.
Yeah,
9
I'm right there, 8.5,
out of
9.
10.
There's very few things I didn't enjoy about that, and I like to leave a little room for improvement. But
Yeah.
I can't explain where I would pick out that improvement just yet. I
It
need
was
to watch
just
it again.
enjoyable. It was an enjoyable romp.
I'd have
And
to
I look
watch
forward
like
to watching
15
it
or
again.
20 Cinema Sins videos and then go watch it, and then I could probably explain why it's only a 9.
I don't like Cinema Sins.
Yeah, I
At
made
the
the
time,
terrible mistake of watching all the Cinema Sins videos for Star Wars before I went and saw the new Star Wars.
Oh.
And I accidentally watched it all cynically, and I still loved it, but I kept like, yeah.
I
This
think
guy's been
half the
walking for
time-
like 5 minutes and he found the town.
I think half the time they're just harping on things for more clicks on YouTube's, which is why I don't like them.
Well, I mean, they've
They're
always
picking
said
on things
that
that don't need it.
all of this is tongue in cheek. You said, most of these, pretty much all these movies we actually love, but we do this for fun to pick on, tropes and silly things in movies.
So, last bit of news, without going down the CinemaSins rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
CNBC has revealed that Disney was recently in talks, not currently active, but could resume, according to insiders, to buy 21st Century Fox with the exception of the news and live sports divisions. This would include properties such as the X-Men and Fantastic Four.
See, I'm all for the entity that controls Marvel gaining control of the X-Men franchise.
And Fantastic Four.
And Fantastic Four. All I need to do now is somehow steal Spider-Man back from Sony.
Yeah.
And all will be right in the world.
Yeah. But I hear a but coming on.
Yeah, that makes a lot of people that are worried about monopolies real puckery and nervous.
You know, I think if they're gonna go, so before I get into like the nerdgasm I had yesterday when I saw this story, I would hope that those people, before they go after Disney for having more IPs to rely on, that they would go after Amazon.
Yeah.
Before this, because honestly, Amazon is a concern for monopolies way more than Disney and entertainment.
Yeah.
Amazon is starting to control people's lives.
Yeah. See, someone pointed out though, like between Disney's and 21st and 20th Century Fox together accounted for more than 40% of the U.S. film studio revenue in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So, if that was all combined, it wouldn't be surprising to see them take in half of the revenue for all movies in the U.S. in a year.
Yeah.
It's not a big jump from 40 to 50%.
I think that if Disney,
especially with the level of combined marketing power they could wield at that point.
I completely agree. And I think that what Disney will ultimately do if they resume talks and they buy 21st Century Fox, like the entertainment part, like with this, I think they're gonna end up going down a similar route of Google.
Just breaking themselves up somehow.
Yeah, breaking themselves up somehow.
I think that they would be well off if they left the TV studio out of it too and just took the film.
Yeah.
If they could pull out and basically extract, like the X-Men and Fantastic Four and a few other select, film franchises, and buy those and leave the TV studio intact, I think that they would avoid the problems of monopoly allegations. And still improve the overall film landscape.
With one caveat. Marvel television entities. Because I would want them to take control of IP properties that are on television, such as Lucifer,
right,
and X, the Legion or whatever it's called, the X-Men, the new X-Men TV show.
Yeah, I think really I guess what you're saying is a better route would be for them to start wielding their immense bargaining power to just start obtaining all of the Marvel IPs from whoever has them.
Yes, exactly.
Because I don't know if they really need an entire movie studio, because 21st Century Fox deals in a lot of things that, aren't even remotely connected to these properties.
I agree.
But if they gained control of, the entire Marvel lineup, and so that it's not scattered around with 4 or 5 different studios, that would probably be ideal.
Now, to move less away from the real world and more into the pure hypothetical, the dream. They get control of X-Men. They get control of that IP. And even Deadpool. Why not? Bring Deadpool into it, because Deadpool's already kind of part of the MCU because of the weird way that they set up that movie.
That's almost the only one I don't want them to have, because I feel like Disney might shy away from R-rated Deadpool.
True, but they did show a helicarrier in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like peripherally, like Deadpool kind of blend. Anyway, do you know what trilogy I would love to see? And it would be the perfect trilogy to bring the X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Which trilogy is that?
X-Men versus Avengers.
Oh, that would be weird.
Oh man, that is one of the best comic series ever written. I mean, you could do 3 movies on that. You could introduce X-Men into the MCU in a way that would engage people, have insane nerd cred from the beginning, and and then beyond that, you start like through X-Men versus Avengers, you introduce the Fantastic Four peripherally first. You don't do an origin story for them. You have them age appropriate to the comics. You get a good actor to play them. Like you choose, like you get like the power of Disney in like getting these roles
is they can get really good people to play them.
That's right.
It's like the fact that they've got Benedict Cumberbatch playing Doctor Strange. It's like astonishes me because of what he's already done, the work he's already done. It's like, and somehow they can afford to pay him enough to make him be in a comic book. Huh?
Are you in a paper tornado?
Oh shit! Sorry. Yeah, paper tornado.
So yeah, I mean, just the star power, and like honestly, at this point, since Fantastic Four has been dragged through the mud so many times,
that last outing was real painful.
Like
I think the Disney and Marvel together recognize we do not need any more origin stories. Holy shit. These characters have existed for 70 years or more on some of them. We know where they're from.
Right. And then you do like this, you do this deal where you just do X-Men versus Avengers. You introduce the Fantastic Four peripherally, make them like more primary in like the 3rd movie, kind of change the storyline where they kind of bring about the peace. And then you have like the Fantastic Four established. You just bring those IPs home and you make them good. Oh my god. And then that opens up so many other amazing storylines. Sorry, I'm like nerding out right now about it. It'd be so
clearly. See, the Fantastic Four has always been a mixed bag to me. I like the Thing and I like the Flame, Human Torch.
Yeah. I'm
kind of super indifferent towards the Invisible Woman. She's all right. And I really do not like Mr. Incredible.
What? Mr. Incredible? You mean Mr. Fantastic?
Mr. Fantastic, whatever. The point is,
Mr. Reed?
Mr. Stretchy, Mr. Stretch Armstrong over here doesn't do it for me.
Why not?
I don't know.
The most interesting characters.
I don't know. I've just never liked him.
I mean, he's okay. When Reed Richards, like, if he was ever done correctly,
that's probably it. But
if him as a comic book character is this guy who's insanely smart. He's smarter than Tony Stark, and his want is to actually make the world a better place. And matter of fact, that want, the want to solve the problem of everything, actually leads into some of the most epic storylines that Marvel has ever done in comic form. And it leads to some of the most epic battles and interests ever. And the fact that Fox has ruined pretty much every one of those characters.
Yeah.
It is just, it's a sin.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I think we've pretty well covered all that.
Man, no, we haven't.
We could go down a deep rabbit hole about comics, to be honest.
Maybe we should have a part 2 of this.
We might have to have a part 2,
okay.
Just ranting and raving about comics.
So, you have a, how jaded are you?
Today?
Yeah.
Like a 2. A 2.
Wow, that's really low.
Yeah, good things have been happening.
I'm at a 3, maybe a 4, and it's not because I'm like angry with the world. Like yesterday was a really good day for me. Today I felt better than I have in almost a year.
Weird.
But
Might want to get that checked.
My glasses are broken. They were broken by my optometrist. So I'm having some weird vision.
Why?
Things.
And you'll have to tell me that story.
They were
No, we're pressed for time.
It's just, we're not pressed for time. It's just anyway, and that's led to some inner ear pressure, which has led to some vertigo. Which has led to some
I'm not really sure how you go from eye problems to inner ear problems. So
if you don't see things, like if your perception is slightly skewed due to your glasses not fitting right on your face, it can lead to a vertigo sensation, which can lead to inner ear pressure. It's
okay. So you had the chain of command backwards there for a second. Now it makes sense.
Yeah. So because of that, I'm a little bit more jaded than I should be, but I'm in a weirdly good mood. So, huzzah!
Well, yay for that!
Huzzah, everybody.
So do you have a quote?
I do. Because we were talking about Marvel, I have a Stan Lee quote.
Okay.
In the beginning, Marvel created the bullpen and the style. And the bullpen was without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the artists. And the spirit of Marvel said, "Let there be the Fantastic Four." And there was the Fantastic Four. And Marvel saw the Fantastic Four, and it was good.
Okay. Sure. I don't know how to feel about that one.
Dude, we would not have the discussions we have today, the movies we have today around comic books without the Fantastic Four. They are literally the first family of modern comics.
Well, anyways, I'm going to quote straight out of the Thor movie because I can't really follow that up. From Odin, though. What are you, Thor, god of hammers? We didn't even cover how awesome that stuff was.
Oh,
yeah. Part 2 upcoming next week, ladies and gentlemen. We might go see this again just to be sure.
For sure. Also coming up later in this month, November 17th, The Punisher hits Netflix.
Be still, my heart.
Be still, my violent, raging heart.
Anyways, if you liked what you heard here today, feel free to follow us on Twitter to be updated when new podcasts are posted.
At Proteus Podcast.
If you'd like to send a comment to it, email us at proteuspodcast@gmail.com. And remember to subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Podbean, and other places that fine podcasts are purveyed as well as ours.
Including YouTube's.
And the YouTubes. Anyways, all that being said, I've been Jacob.
And I'm still Danielle.
And we have been the Proteus Podcast. Good night, everyone.